We now present City at Night, which finds Keith and Dorothy on an unusual trip.
Well, we're on our way. Away from the Earth.
Look how small it's getting, Keith.
Yeah, I wonder how fast we're going. Well, I think we've landed somewhere.
Oh, that was a fast trip. Let's get out.
Okay. How is it down there?
Look at it, Keith.
Boy, I never took such a fast trip in my life.
Look, though.
Isn't this a beautiful thing?
Ooh,
No trees, mountains,
scary.
desert. Yeah, it is. Wonder where we are, huh?
I don't know.
Oh, look at it. Breathtaking.
Oh, it is. Keith, look.
Oh.
What's...
I don't know.
Look, I'm getting scared.
Maybe we better get back in. Huh?
Look. Well, who are they?
I don't know. Suppose we better get back in the ship?
I don't know, but they're coming our way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, this may be it.
Gee whiz, so soon?
Uh-huh. Boy. Look at them. They don't look like they have any weight. They're just floating along.
Uh,
I don't know about this business. Let's get back.
Oh.
Did you come from the Earth?
Yes, and a very,
Yes, we
very quick
did.
trip.
So did these gentlemen.
Oh, they did?
They came from the same place you did. If they took those helmets off, we'd probably recognize them. You might have seen them before.
Pardon me, this is Miss Gardner,
How do you do, Miss Gardner?
and I'm Keith Hetherington.
And you're
Mr.
in the
Hetherington?
picture, right?
That's right.
You're the director of this picture.
A picture. You know where you are. You're on the surface of the moon.
What?
You're in the middle
We
of the
are?
crater Harpalus on the moon. And these gentlemen have also come from the Earth in a spaceship, this same spaceship here.
They did.
This is Mr. John Archer, who helped to build the ship.
How are you,
How do
Mr.
you
Archer?
do?
Nice to know you.
This is Mr. Warner Anderson,
Hello.
who plays Dr. Card.
Glad to know you, Warner.
Designer of the
How
ship.
are you?
This is Dick Wesson. He
Glad to know
operates
you.
the radar and radio. And this is Tom Powers,
Hello.
a retired
How are you, Tom?
Air Force general
Very glad.
who instigated this trip.
Say,
You know, for a moment, they really did scare me.
I don't wonder that you're frightened.
You really did.
You really ought to be dressed as they are.
Well, these outfits amaze me.
These are spacesuits. You see, they have to carry their own oxygen supply. They have to wear a helmet because there's no atmosphere here on the moon.
uh-huh.
There's no air at all as there is on the Earth. So if you'll notice on their backs, they carry 2 tanks of oxygen.
These are the oxygen
Since
tanks.
there's no air to carry sound, they can't speak to each other. They have to use walkie-talkies and communicate by radio.
Oh, that's
This
the
is the
walkie-talkie.
That's the walkie-talkie, and there's the aerial.
Uh-huh.
This is their oxygen supply, which goes into the helmet that they wear. These suits normally on the moon, where there's no atmosphere, you see, being filled with oxygen, expand. That's why they look a little bit like teddy bears.
Oh, I see. And down what is this here?
That has their radio control for intercommunication and also communication with the ship. It also has the oxygen control, so they can control the flow of oxygen from their tanks on their backs.
I noticed a little gadget here. What is this for?
I believe that has something to do with their what?
Air intake and air
It's
Oh.
a valve.
And this is the
exhaust
intake
valve.
here. This is the exhaust
valve,
here.
yes.
And I noticed you carry a very fancy set of instruments on the
Oh,
side
yes.
here, too.
They have to have a flashlight.
Yes.
They have to have various tools that they may require in repairing things on the exterior of the ship,
Uh-huh.
as they have to do in this picture.
Well, I noticed that their suits, their spacesuits, rather, are a different color. Is there any reason for that?
Yes, identification. This is a very bleak landscape here, as you notice. And if they wore silvered suits, they'd merge in the landscape. This is the only way that they can recognize each other from a distance.
Oh, by the different colored suits.
Yes, it also helps to prevent anybody getting lost in all these rocky formations out here.
Well, that is wonderful. Fellows, thanks a lot for showing us what the man from Mars, you might say, wears.
It's the man from Earth.
Man
The
from
man
Earth.
from Earth.
Man from Mars is a different kind of creature.
Oh.
We'll show you a lot more a little later.
Let's see, you have a rope on the other side.
That's the safety line.
Uh-huh.
This is in case you get out in free fall or any place where you might need a safety line.
Uh-huh.
Brings us on the ship.
These gentlemen were in an awful predicament last week. They had to make a repair on the exterior of the ship. So they put on their space suits and got out and walked all over the surface of the ship here, repairing a radar antenna. And they needed the safety lines because without those and boots with magnetic soles, of course, they could easily have floated off into space. In fact, one of them did. We had quite a difficult... that was Dr. Cargraves. We had quite a difficult time getting him back onto the surface of the ship. We succeeded, and here he is tonight.
How did you finally get him back?
I'd rather not tell.
Oh, you are...
Let's leave that for the picture.
Suffice it to say that he did get back.
Here he is right now, safe on the surface of the moon.
Mr. Pitchell, I'd like to have you turn around just a little bit so that our audience can see you. And tell us, we haven't found out yet, what is the name of this picture?
Picture is be called Destination Moon.
Destination Moon.
I think perhaps that you will be interested now in meeting the gentleman who originated the idea of making this picture.
I'd like to find out a little bit more about you, Mr.
Oh, I'm an old story around here.
I'd like to find out something about the picture. Are you getting any particular kick, you might say, out of this picture over any other pictures you've directed?
Kick? Since I graduated from college, I haven't had as much education as I've had on this one picture. I've read books about rocketry, rocket flight. I've brushed up on astronomy. I know more about the laws of gravity now, the law of gravity, than I ever dreamed I'd have to know. In addition to that, I've had an experience which I believe most directors are supposed to enjoy. That is, putting actors through elaborate forms of torture.
Do you have any sympathy for these actors?
I hadn't until last Saturday. They wanted to make a photograph, a gag picture, you know, of me directing the actors from space. So they rigged me up and sent me floating 30-odd feet above the stage floor. I then realized, since they kept me up there about 3/4 of an hour, what I've been subjecting these nice fellows to. My state of mind is quite different now. I approach them when there's anything to do that defies the laws of gravity with a great deal of trepidation and consideration. And say, my dear fellow, do you mind doing this? But they're good sports. They haven't minded so far, or at least they haven't complained about it too violently.
Have you ever directed a picture that was even approaching this in sensationalism?
No. I've directed one other picture in which the principal characters had to get along without air because they operated underwater. A picture called Mr. Peabody and the Mermaid, an underwater picture. This is my first space picture. As a matter of fact, to the best of my knowledge, this is the first serious space picture that's been made in the United States. Way back in 1902, in France, they made a picture about a trip to the moon. And in 1928, they made one in Germany. But to the best of my knowledge, this is the first one to be made in this country. More than that, it's the first picture made about a trip to the moon in which they didn't find pretty girls there.
Now then, where did the idea come from, a picture like this?
Well, I don't know exactly where the idea came from. I know where I first heard about it, and that was from my good friend George Pal, who has nursed the idea of doing this picture for quite a while.
I wonder if we could talk.
I'd like you to meet Mr. Powell. George? Miss
Gardner.
Miss Gardner, Mr. Powell.
Hello.
Mr. Hetherington, Mr. Powell.
Just keep
How are you?
You know the other fellows, don't you?
I lived with them in the past 4 weeks.
I believe you.
Mr. Powell, where did you get the idea for a picture like this?
Well, it isn't particularly my idea. I always look for something unusual, different, like we used to do it in the old Puppetoons. Do you remember?
Well, everybody remembers the Puppetoons. They were so cute.
And then we felt that we grew out our short pants. We should have put on long pants. So instead of shorts, we decided to make features, long ones. You see?
Still living in the world of fantasy, though.
Yes, in a way. Although
Yes,
we think
I
this
think
is
so.
very near tomorrow. This trip to the moon, I think.
Really?
Yes.
Maybe you can give us some of the statistics on the picture. How long will it be before the picture is released and so on?
Oh, the picture will be pre-released sometimes in February.
We're getting a sign that they want you to see the television audience. I mean, the audience to see you, too.
It will be sometimes in February, and then it goes in general release sometime in summer. But we're pre-releasing it as fast as we can, being a hot subject, let's say.
Look at the blast here.
Oh, sure, you can see that.
Right.
See the what is lava here is all scorched?
we call it,
Yeah.
yes.
Scorched earth? Well, I think it's one of the most amazing picture sets that I've ever seen.
Well, we have a wonderful little family here together. Mr. Pitchell on the head of the table, and I would like to call some of the people who are behind the screen, if I may.
Oh,
I
we'd love to
would
meet
like
them.
very much to meet them.
I would like to call Mr. Highland, the originator of this story.
Uh-huh.
He wrote the story. This is Mr. Bob Highland, Dorothy and Keith.
How do
How are you,
do?
Bob?
Hello.
How do you do?
Bob, I wonder if you'd step, maybe if you'd step around here on the other side of
Over
Dorothy,
here?
so that we can ask you a few questions too. Tell us about this trip to the moon. Do you think this is possible?
Oh, yes, it's quite possible.
We're here, aren't we?
Not only are
Yes.
we here, but it can be done. It can be done as soon as anyone is willing to put the bill to do it. There are no new scientific principles to be discovered to accomplish this trip. It's simply a case of money and engineering development.
Well, how long would it take to take a trip to the moon?
Well, this particular trip is figured for a 46-hour orbit. There are various orbits that could be selected. In Jules Verne's book about a trip to the moon, he had a 100-hour orbit. That is equally correct. It depends on your speed of departure.
Oh, I see.
I think it would be very interesting just to take a camera sweep around this huge set here and see what the moon looks like. You know, we saw it at Griffith Park the other
Yes,
night.
we did.
And this is, I am told, an authentic reproduction of what the moon looks like. Are these mountains here, George? Are they,
Are they
craters?
volcanoes,
Or?
or?
Well, let me call Mr. Chesley Bonestall and Ernst Spector, who are the visual artists in
Oh,
this
I
picture.
see.
Oh,
Mr. Chesley Bonestall is a very well-known astronomer. and
How are you, Mr. Bonestall?
hello.
Mr. Ernst Spector,
How are you, Mr. Factor?
Hello.
in the business, and I think this
All
gentleman
right.
can give you the
right.
answer. But
We were just wondering, they sort of look like mountains to us, or are they volcanoes or what?
Well, we'll let you answer that because you're the...
Well, there's a crater about 24 miles in diameter, and those mountains are about 12 miles away and about 10,000 feet high. And the floor of the crater has been flooded with lava, so it's quite level, as you see. And then all these various formations are due to the dropping of volcanic bombs and eruptions and thrust up through the valley of the crater, through the floor of the crater. I think that-
This is perfectly barren then. There's no vegetation.
No vegetation, no life whatever. Everything burned out and frozen, frozen lava.
What is the climate here? Is it
Well, it's intensely, there is no temperature really because there's nothing to conduct heat. Or the temperature in the shade is
Well, it's
extremely
terribly cold and it's terribly hot.
Terribly hot.
Oh,
This, incidentally, is going to be in Technicolor. No one has mentioned it up to now.
And of course, for us here in Hollywood, who have a subject like this to play with, the temptation is rather great, you know, to glamorize the moon. Now, Mr. Bonestell here, my good friend Chesley, is keeping me straight on. He's pinning me down so I can't go wild.
Is that right?
Well, he's the man who knows how it really... I think he's been there. Have you, Chesley?
There's no cheesecake in around,
so. Oh, no. This is...
No, in other words, pretty girls don't come running out.
No, but we're trying to make a picture which doesn't glamorize the moon, which is based on scientific fact as we know it, and of all information that is available. And Mr. Bonestell, Mr. Heinlein, they've studied the subject to exhaustion. They know what it's all about on the moon.
How did you gain all this knowledge about the moon?
Well, just through the years, since I was 10 years old, I've been a student of astronomy, and working in the motion picture business, I realized that you could combine the technique of motion pictures and the methods we use to produce realism in these astronomical effects.
You had a series of pictures in Life magazine a while back, didn't you?
Yes.
On the moon?
Yes, I remember
on the moon
that.
And a book.
Saturn.
Yes, a book.
And a book he just...
Oh, yes.
The
The
Conquest
Conquest
of
of Space.
Conquest of Space.
Let's see.
could I
Let's hold it
hold
this
it?
way so that the... Incidentally, I want to get
friends
one of
at
those
home
books
can see
autographed, too.
Incidentally, this looks very much like the rocket we have, the base of which you see here.
Yes, it was. The one we just got out of.
We have many scenes in the picture which will show the complete rocket. This is only the base of the thing, you see, the bottom of it. But we have many scenes which are done with many tricks that we use to accomplish them. We see the entire rocket really going from the Earth to from the Earth to the moon and back again.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Bonestell.
Thank you very much.
I wonder if you wouldn't like to see some of the other sets that we've used in this picture. On stage 3, we have the interior of the control cabin of this rocket ship.
Oh, the rocket ship that we arrived.
One thing I'd like to say about Chesley Bonestell, with whom you've just been talking, he's a man who has a supreme gift for painting with complete photographic accuracy and realism, things that nobody has ever seen. If you'll go this way, we'll go over to stage 3 and see some of the other sets there.
Could we just sort of look around a few minutes before
Yes,
we
of
go?
course.
Yeah, let's see if we can get some good pictures of this lava here that we're standing on, these huge cracks here.
By all means.
That is so real.
Yes.
We haven't introduced Mr. Colors, who painted this set. Mr. Colors, who painted
Mr. Kolar.
Oh, this is the gentleman that
yes.
painted
I
this
would like to
set.
introduce Mr. Kolosh, who helped me do this wonderful
How are you, Mr.
Hello.
Colors?
Hello.
I think
We've
you
been
should-
admiring your work, should I say. It's beautiful.
It's mostly hard labor
Oh, all right. Admiring
and
your hard
enthusiasm,
labor.
of course.
It took
but
him 3
if-
weeks to paint, and it has to be good painted, doesn't it? Huh?
Yeah,
Jake?
mostly.
Have you done this? Have you done this by yourself?
Yes, with the assistance of 2-3 men to lay it in rather, and then I go over it and paint the whole
Do
shooting
the
match
finishing touches.
to the last rest.
Well, it's an amazing realism here, I
He's
would
done
say.
some wonderful work in the past, and I think he's surpassed himself now in the painting.
I think
It's one of the most
terrific.
interesting things I have done probably in the motion picture
I
industry.
imagine so.
Because it is very serious taken, and most of the co-workers are as serious as you make them right here.
Well, I think we get ready now and go over to the other stage with Mr. Pitcher.
There's one other person I'd like you to meet.
All right, fine.
good.
Duke Goldstone.
Hello.
All right, Mr. Goldstone.
Duke Goldstone is the cutter or editor of the picture.
Oh, he's...
You see, when you see a movie on the screen, you think you see continuous action. But what you really see are a whole lot of little pieces of film which are glued together so they make sense. That's his responsibility.
And
I see.
he's
He
the man that
comes
leaves a
up
lot of faces on the floor, too.
Yeah, this time
That doesn't
Yes, I
Man
bet
on the
there'll be some people, you know.
The man on the moon
that
undoubtedly
is
was
the
what he
man.
left on the floor. And all the Selenites and those pretty girls I spoke of that they used to discover in the older pictures, moon pictures.
Well, there's a lot of science to that and a lot of just plain hard work, too. In the
Well, a lot of plain hard work, but Mr. Pitchell makes it pretty easy for me.
We try
There isn't
to
much
shoot the
cutting,
film
right?
so that it isn't too difficult to put together. Every now and then we create problems.
All right, fine. Shall we go over to the other
Let's go to stage
set now?
All right.
Right. You'll just go this way?
Say, this is a huge set. I wonder, while we're walking over here, Mr. Petchel, if you could give us the dimensions of this stage here.
Well, I think this is about...
173 by 120.
What was that, Mr. Powell?
173 by 120.
170
20 feet wide and 173 feet long.
and it covers the entire stage.
That's right.
So I know that all of our friends out in the television audience will be looking forward to the date that this picture is released so that they can go to their theater and see it. Wait a minute.
Destination.
Wait a minute. I've got having a little difficulties here. Of course, this happens on these remote broadcasts because we do work under terrific obstacles. I think I'll find out just a moment, Mr. Petchel. Do we take this mic over there, Johnny? Do we take this mic all the way through? All right. Now we're free.
Oh, good.
You know,
Isn't
that's,
this wonderful beach?
Mr. Petchel, this is one of the things that makes the City at Night program so interesting, is the difficulties that we have to work under, getting from place to place, distances. Here we're moving probably 100 yards now to another studio.
There's one thing I'd like to impress upon you and also upon the television audience, and that is that you didn't accidentally find us working here tonight.
We didn't?
We came here especially to receive you.
Well, we are certainly happy for that.
Oh, thank you.
Our day began early this morning, and we were at it for a good 9.5, 10 hours. And then we thought it would be very pleasant to come back this evening and meet you.
Well, I'm certainly glad you did.
Well, we certainly appreciate it, too.
Well, we don't know what might have happened to you if you'd landed on the moon and we weren't there to guide you.
We would have been frightened to death, I'll tell you that.
You might have fallen into crevices,
Probably.
got lost in those lava formations.
Well,
Most anything could happen to you on the moon. Now then, we'll see all the activity that takes place on a motion picture set.
right, you're right behind the scenes now.
So there was one other question that I wanted to ask Mr. Heinlein. Since he's right here by us, when did you get the idea for this story or this picture, Mr. Heinlein?
Well, I've had the interest in space travel for a long time, but I did not by any means originate the idea of a story of a trip to the moon. Of course, all of you have heard of Jules Verne's trip to the moon story, but I think a more amusing thing than that is that the first contemporary novel about a trip to the moon was written, you'd never believe it, a book called La Voyage à la Lune, The Trip to the Moon, by Cyrano de Bergerac, the man with the nose. He was a novelist writing about trips to the moon, as well as fighting duels about his nose.
So this is quite a place too, isn't it?
It is. Look.
All of the things that go into making a motion picture that, well, you people out there that have never had the opportunity to visit a motion picture set, you're going to see a lot of things tonight that will amaze you and may fool you just a little bit, too.
Right, I think it's the first time this has ever been televised inside a studio, right?
As far as we know, it is.
You see what's right behind Mr. Heinlein? That's the Technicolor camera by which this picture is being photographed. Picture's being made in Technicolor. And this enormous camera has to move about on the surface of the moon and in the spaceship which you see up here before you. Where is Mr. huge camera.
Isn't
I'd
it?
like you
Look
to
at
meet
that. Oh,
Mr. Linden, who is photographing the picture.
How are you, Mr. Linden?
How do you do?
Dorothy Gardner, Mr. Linden. So you're the fellow that operates this big camera.
Well, I have a man that does operate.
Oh, I see.
oh.
Oh, he tells the operator.
I
how to
tell the
operate.
operator what to do,
So that's the kind of a job I'd like to have.
but I lay out the setups for him, and he does anything I tell him to do with his camera.
In other words, you're responsible for all the
All the photography.
photography.
I put on the screen what these people write on paper.
And that's a big job, too.
Yes, it is.
And this is Mr. Robert Brower,
How
who
do you
is
do?
the color consultant on the picture and keeps us straight about what can be photographed in Technicolor.
You mean you have difficulties there, too?
Oh, indeed we
yes,
do.
I should say. This is a especially interesting job, however, this picture.
Would you turn around and take a look at our
Turn
camera?
around just
Then,
a bit, look at our friends in the audience up there.
With Curly over here, we've done some things that have actually never been done before in Technicolor picture,
Uh-huh.
and it's been tremendously interesting for all of us.
Well, the sets are really beautiful.
Yeah, they're
They're so
terrific.
real. Like.
Yes.
It's
Tell me, the
amazing.
colors come out true on Technicolor.
Yes.
In other words, the blouse that Dorothy is wearing would come out that same shade of green?
It would come out green. Unfortunately, our present audience can't see that
No.
beautiful green. We hope by
It's a
the
light
time
gray.
this picture is out, and you see this picture is in 1960,
Uh-huh.
and by that time maybe television will be color, and we'll be able to get some good color on the television screens as well as on the motion picture screen.
Uh-huh. Well, we hope so, too. Here comes another camera. Let's move out of the way.
All right.
This just gives you a little idea of what the cameraman...
Yes, one of
what
our
I-
cameramen, they're having a little bit of trouble.
Well, as they put it here, it isn't exactly trouble. It's just plain hard work.
That's hard labor, Keith.
Hard labor.
Hard labor.
Uh-huh.
I wonder,
Where did Mr. Pitchell go?
Pitchell?
Mr. Pitchell,
Yes, yes.
Oh, good.
what are you going to show us now?
I have a gentleman I know you'd like to meet. Where's Gene May? Mr. May. Did you read about the
certainly
pilot
did.
who flew faster than the speed of sound,
Hello.
40 feet above the ground?
I certainly
This is
did.
he.
That was just last week, wasn't it, Gene?
Yes.
the
Matter
re-
of
the
fact,
most
it was
recent
a week ago last Thursday.
That was piercing the supersonic wall, huh?
Well, so they say. We, as far as I am concerned, I don't know.
I want you to turn around and take a look at our camera for a minute. How long have you been flying, Gene?
Well, the first flight I made was in 1926, so that adds up to be approximately 23 years.
And how about your family status? Are you a married man?
Oh, yes, I'm married, and I have 3 children besides. In addition to that, about 6 months ago, I was presented with a lovely granddaughter.
Is that right?
Wow.
Oh, yes.
Imagine a grandpa flying
Yes.
faster than sound, huh?
Well, it isn't so much of a trick.
It isn't, huh? You've pierced that wall several times, though, I understand, in the past.
As a matter of fact, with the Navy's Douglas Skyrocket, piercing the so-called sonic wall is sort of an everyday routine. Well, for that particular airplane, it was designed that way, and there is just nothing to it.
Do you got any particular sensation of speed in that plane, Gene?
Well, Keith, at higher altitudes, obviously there's so much space beneath you that the illusion of speed just doesn't happen to be there. But if you're traveling at anywhere near that speed, close to the ground, I dare say that the ground looks like the edge of a high-speed grinding wheel being held immediately before your eyes.
As I understand it, your last trip out here in the dry lake a week ago last Thursday, the news photographers wanted to get some good pictures of you, and they told you to follow a black line. How did that black line look as you were following it across the desert?
Well, that particular black line from the air actually doesn't appear as a black line. Matter of fact, you can hardly see it. To locate the black line, actually, I had them throw a smoke flare on the end of the runway to locate that particular black line for me. Because obviously I have to start the run at a considerable distance away from the edge of the lake bed. So I can say truthfully the black line is very, very hard to see when you're in the air.
But it is. And at a speed of well over what?
I
mean, we
I'm
don't want
sorry.
to go any military
Yes,
secrets here.
No,
But
I'm sorry, Keith. I cannot in any way quote any speeds. Any information coming forth
about performance of this aircraft will have to come from the proper sources, and I assure you it's not me.
Well,
We'd like to see the model of that ship.
Commander Rice of the Navy Bureau of Information.
How do
and
you
Lieutenant
do?
How
Rockland.
are you, Commander?
Lieutenant Rockland? I think Commander Rice has a model of the plane that
Lieutenant.
Mr. May flew.
Oh, this is a model? May I?
That is the Navy Douglas Skyrocket.
Say, that's a sweet-looking little job, isn't it?
The wingspan will fit in your living room, about 25 feet.
25 feet. And what's the overall length of the ship, Lieutenant?
About 45 feet.
Uh-huh. And this is the latest design, the swept-back wings, huh?
That's right.
You think that's fast? Look at this. This is not a rocket ship. This goes 7 miles a second.
It does.
Yes, sir.
Even with the man standing up there.
There's a man standing on the surface of the ship. That's 45 feet long. This is 150 feet long. The control room door is right up here. It's about to go in. That's 90 feet above the ground. When we return to the Earth, we use the ship as a glider. You see, these become the wings, and this is a stabilizer fin here. This is just a strut to hold it when it's
Well, I'm glad you told us that, because I've been wondering how we were going to get back.
Here you are. We can blow this up for you to full size. We can put you aboard. We can put you aboard and get you home all right at very remarkable speed.
All right, let's open this up now and show some of the compartments inside.
I don't know whether I can do that. Who will open it? There.
This is different than television, you know.
This is a section of the interior of the ship. Here's the control room.
Let's hold it this way. See,
There.
we have several million people out there watching it.
This is the control room of the ship. This is the airlock, or compression decompression chamber by which you can reach the exterior. These are tanks in which we carry the reaction mass, that is to say, the working fluid, which supplies the power for the jet down here. Now these are gyros. The engine is down here. This is purely a formal representation of the engine. We don't want you to know what that's like at all. This is even more secret than the speed of Mr. May's plane. It's so secret that I don't know anything about it myself. And I've been working it every day here for 4 weeks. I've already announced that. We're not keeping that a secret. It's only the construction of the engine.
What kind of fuel do you use in that, Irving?
We have an atomic pile in here, and what that atomic pile does to water is amazing.
Now,
Just plain water.
Can we put this together and stand it down here on the floor to let our audience see what a rocket looks like? I mean, a spaceship standing ready to take off. Oh. This is the one that we crawled out of, isn't it?
That's right.
There you are.
Let me turn it around so we can see the little man. I've lost him. Oh, there he is.
Oh, he fell off.
There's a little man.
Now, let's see. Where's that door? I came out of clear up here. Huh? I mean, Dorothy and I came.
Yes, you came out of the door here, climbed down the ladder.
That was a long climb, believe
Indeed
me.
it was, 90 feet.
Are you going to
90
make the poor
feet?
pilot stand on the outside?
Well, if they have to do anything out on the exterior of the ship, they have
I'll
to.
tell you, I'd like to make the first flight on that thing if you will pay my taxi fare back and guarantee it's a cab.
Why do you ask me to do that? There's Heinlein, who designed the ship, or Chesley Bonestell, who designed it, Heinlein, who dreamed it up. All I have to do is tell the actors how to work it. I don't know myself.
I wouldn't have much worry, not nearly as much worry about getting there as I would getting back. That would be my big worry.
That's one of our big problems in this story.
We'll work it out, though, huh?
Well, we finally work it out. Yeah, nobody's going to come to any great disaster. But we have a tough time for a while.
Getting back to this little job here, I'd like to ask the commander here, not revealing any secrets, but how fast could you tell us that this plane went?
Well, it has exceeded 700 miles
It's
an
exceeded 700 miles an hour. Well, that isn't...
hour. Many times.
Yeah. As Mr. Pitchell says, that isn't so fast, then. Well, thank you very much, Commander and Lieutenant, for coming down and giving us the story on this little ship. And now, Irving, I think our audience would like to see...
I've got one other man I want you to meet. Do you mind?
No.
Harold! All day long, I'm shouting Harold.
Yeah, who's Harold?
Harold is Harold Godso, the assistant director on the picture.
Oh, I see.
How are you?
All right.
Without him, nothing gets done.
Is that right?
Well,
But we get a great deal done because he's here.
Just another madam. I go to the moon, the earth, and
Places between.
Barnestell and Heinlein. No, but I think you might be interested to see what we are doing
We
to
would.
get to the moon.
Very much interested.
Yes.
We
If
would
you
like
would
to
just
see what
take a
you
look
do
up
in the
there.
studio here now.
You would see something very interesting.
Okay, fine.
I think we can go up this ramp here.
Well, I don't know whether we want to. Do we want to go up there or not? Why don't?
We can see.
Huh? All right, let's go up there. Huh?
Come on.
Sure.
All right.
Right up this way.
Right up the ramp.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I think. Can you get under this?
Oh,
great.
fine.
Thank you.
That's the spaceship.
This is the spaceship, huh?
A big step and nothing under you. I mean...
Oh, nothing under.
Now we're in the spaceship.
This is the trap door that leads down into the,
Goes down into the
Wait just a moment now till our camera comes in here, and then we're going to show our audience all this too.
You want them to see it?
Oh, of course. Uh-huh.
We'll be very glad to show it to them.
Keith, I think Dorothy ought to try our acceleration couch over here.
He's a casting director.
What is this?
You coming in further, Jimmy? Huh?
The extreme acceleration.
Come on, let's bring that boom in further, huh?
Here he comes.
This is the softest job that Jimmy ever had.
He's really taking it easy, isn't he?
We'll have to get a shot of that with the other camera pretty soon.
You ought to see him riding up in the air high
Oh,
like
he's
that.
enjoying it, having fun.
All right, now then, we're inside, and you people are right with us. We're inside the control room of this spaceship.
That's right.
All right,
We
now,
have 4 of these couches. And when the ship takes off,
Maybe I should shift
each of the gentlemen has to lie on a couch and strap himself in.
let me see how that works.
All right,
Try
good. We'll let Keith try it for a change.
Shall we strap you in so you get the full treatment?
Would you like to back up just a bit so I...
Careful.
Further yet? Could we step back further?
One more set of straps.
Why do you have to be strapped in, Tom?
Well, we're going to subject you to about 6 times normal gravity, 6 Gs.
Hey, wait a minute. I want to show them. I have television up here, too.
That's
see?
right.
See?
How
do I get Channel 5?
With
turn
this
the
ground
dial,
pickup.
please.
Oh, the ground pickup. Okay.
We have a television camera in the nose of the ship, one at the tail, and we keep one on the ground so that we can see our own takeoff.
Oh, I see.
There's a television screen right up there so that you can watch your own, the operation of your own ship.
Wonderful.
And these snap on the
You can change from camera to camera.
The
You
view
look very
forward, view
comfortable,
aft.
Mr. Headington.
Well, it is comfortable.
Of course, when you weigh about 1,100 pounds,
So these actors have a
the
soft
ship
job in the
accelerates.
control room here.
it's a very hard job.
It can turn upside down when it feels like it.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Could it do it right now?
Yes.
Has done it many
Could it do it now?
Do it
I wonder
now,
if we
is it?
should.
I'll do it for you now.
Oh, let's do
Oh.
it. Let's turn it.
I don't think we can. We're not ready for it.
Oh, let's turn it.
Tell me, what
Let's
are
do
these
it anyhow.
oxygen tanks along here?
Yes, these are reserve oxygen, emergency. Our main oxygen tanks are down in the body of the ship.
Okay.
Now, would you like to get up? Should we release you?
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty comfortable.
Well, you might just as well get up.
Tell me, what is the diameter of the spaceship?
15 feet.
15 feet. Yes.
This hatch leads. You have to go down the hatch to the airlock,
Yeah, I like that going down the
Oh,
hatch.
right down here. Hmm?
and that operates a set of controls that are not visible at the moment, that are usually over here. See, this set is built of panels, any one of which can be removed, so that our motion picture camera can look at the ship from any point of view. The ship is mounted in this gimbal so that it can be turned towards the camera from any angle. Also, when it goes through space and assumes various positions, we can rotate the entire ship end for end.
And tell me, how many men does it take to operate the rotating? No, I mean, how many men does it take to operate?
This is operated by electric motors.
But of course, every move requires resetting all the lights and
That's
everything
true.
like that.
That's true.
That's the reason that we can't turn it tonight.
That's right. And most of we are now about, you see, to go back to the Earth.
I noticed here's a symbol of the Earth.
We brought that with us.
Yes, oh.
Part of our supply.
In order to get back to the Earth with the amount of fuel that we have left, we have had to strip the ship of everything that we can possibly dispense with on the return trip. That's why you see it in its present condition.
Oh, I see.
A lot of instruments have been removed.
Oh, I see.
A lot of the equipment has been taken out of the ship.
Jimmy, up above here are panels where you can see where things have been torn out. And those are left on the moon.
We have to leave them there so we can get away because we haven't got enough power to pull away from the gravity.
All right, now then, do we have any other part of the spaceship that we can see now?
Over yonder, you can see the interior of the airlock. That isn't quite completed yet. We haven't photographed that. But that is on the screen, that portion of the ship will appear to be directly beneath this. In other words, when you go through this hatch, you descend into that airlock.
That's the decompression chamber.
That's right, yes. Before you go out on the moon, you have to put on a spacesuit and exhaust the air from that chamber, and then the door can be opened. Right on the moon.
That's to keep from getting the bends. As a diver would say.
To get out at all.
It's to get out at all.
Oh, I
Open
see.
the door.
Oh, I see.
The door opens inward, you see, and the pressure of the air would keep the door from opening.
Oh, I see.
It's an air trap to enable them to move from a vacuum location to a pressurized location.
Like a ship going through a canal, and the
Something
water has
like
to
that.
be.
Or like the pressurized lock that's used on a pressurized fire room. It's a very conventional arrangement. It's not a fantastic thing that we've dreamed up, but standard engineering.
What did you call this? This is mounted on a what did you say?
Well, this is a sort of gimbal.
A gimbal. What does this thing weigh? I know it's a heavy steel construction. Must weigh several tons.
Yes, I think this weighs between 6 and 7 tons, loaded.
It's a big construction job, isn't it?
Yes, it has been.
I wonder if... I was going to say, if it was possible to get a shot of Jimmy sitting up there in the air.
Yes, I think it would be a very good shot.
Jimmy is one of our ace cameramen, and I think he's really enjoying the ride on that big boom.
That's a nice boom, isn't it?
Oh, that's a dandy.
That goes from...
There he comes down. Now we can see it.
Yes.
That goes from here to the moon.
How about a wave, Jimmy, huh?
Well, shall we go down now?
No. No, we've got a lot of things to see yet. So here's that big Technicolor camera.
Right. Look at this nice guy.
Stand out here and look pretty. They're taking your pictures, see? Right. Yeah. How do you like that, huh? In Technicolor yet.
Sure.
Well, I think this is probably the first time that our television audience, and the first time that we have had a chance to see behind the scenes of a motion picture that is being, or rather in the process of being made, and a motion picture that I know that all of you will want to see when it is released at your local theaters.
And the name, of course, is Destination Moon.
We've already been there.
Yes, we have.
This is one of the huge sound stages It's probably about the same size as the set that the moon was built
first
on,
set we were
which
on.
is about, what did you say again, George? 120 feet wide by...
Oh, it's about 173.
173 by 120.
It's about 40 feet high.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So we hope that everyone has enjoyed our trip to the moon tonight, and we're going to get back to Earth some of these days, I hope.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Time left. There's another naval guest here I'd like to introduce, Lieutenant Rockwell.
Oh, yes, we did. How are you, Lieutenant? Lieutenant, are you a technical advisor or something on
Well,
this
no,
picture?
I'm not a technical advisor.
No,
When we
Navy's
first...
interested in rocketry.
Oh, I know they are.
We're doing a lot of rocket work out at White Sands, as you know, so this is of interest to us. When we first heard about it, we were afraid that maybe it was one of those mad scientist, wicked woman routines, but we see it isn't that at all, and it's heartening to see this sort of picture being made when the scientific facts are adhered to and educate the public along these lines. I think it's a very encouraging thing.
Well, I'm glad that it has the full approval of the Navy, because it really looks to me like a scientific picture, not just a bit of fiction.
Well, we're impressed with the tremendous amount of research they've done on this, and they've come to us for help on a few problems, and we hope we've been of service to them.
Well, I'll bet you've been of invaluable service. Well, Mr. Powell, we want to thank you very much for allowing us to come over on your set.
Thanks very much for your
tonight.
visit.
Yes,
And,
thank you so much. We enjoyed it.
Thanks,
really.
Dorothy, very, very much.
I want to thank you and your all of your co-workers and your crew for coming back tonight so to make this possible. And I know that we'll be looking forward with a great deal of pleasure to the picture.
Well, you see why I consider myself so lucky, having so wonderful co-workers all around.
Well,
They really
met
are
the family.
nice, right.
Certainly a
And I
wonderful
hope
group.
you enjoyed our little family.
did.
Oh, we certainly did.
Well, Dorothy, if we can get back down to Earth, I wonder where we'll be next week.
Well, I don't know, but it'll be someplace completely different. I wonder if it'll be someplace on Earth.
Well, I hope so. I think it'll be somewhere completely different in our city at night. Say, I wonder who that fellow.
What does it say in it?
That's the press agent. He slept all the way through it.
Oh, no. That's just like a press agent.